This is 6 Minutes, the Seriously International Daily Newscast. It's Thursday, March the 20th. I'm Bertrand Hauger.
And I'm Rebecca Bonthius. It's almost bedtime in Brisbane, while the day is just starting in Arequipa. Here in the World Crunch newsroom in Paris, it's just after midday on a beautiful first day of spring. These are the latest headlines. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is set to address EU leaders after a positive phone call with US President Donald Trump. Iran has released a French tourist held since 2022, and our daily quiz question is all about happiness. Our top story today is Israel's overnight strikes on Gaza, which have killed at least 70 Palestinians and wounded dozens, according to health officials from the Strip. The strikes come as Israel resumed its bombing campaign and ground operations in the enclave, effectively abandoning a ceasefire that it held since January. Meanwhile, Israel said it intercepted a missile launched from Yemen early on Thursday by the rebel Houthi group.
Now that Israel has abandoned the ceasefire in Gaza and resumed the war, the conflict in the Gaza Strip seems to have reached a deadlock. In an analysis for the Cairo-based news website Al-Manassa, Mohammed Kayal wonders whether Egypt can spearhead a semi-permanent solution to end the conflict and prevent further escalation. He writes, "An Egyptian diplomat told Al-Manassa that the most practical and implementable vision is Egypt's emergency plan for reconstruction. This plan includes forming a temporary committee to govern Gaza for 6 months and establishing a new police force in the Strip that is not affiliated with Hamas. This approach essentially meets American and Israeli demands that Gaza not pose a future threat to Israel, while also removing Hamas from administrative and security control over the Strip. The plan also provides an exit strategy for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who is facing threats from extremists within his coalition. But another major obstacle remains: Hamas' insistence on a complete Israeli military withdrawal from Gaza. Mediators are seeking a resolution through a proposal introduced by Hamas for a long-term truce.
Moving to the Ukraine-Russia war, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is set to open an EU summit with a speech via video link on Thursday following a, quote, positive phone call with US President Donald Trump. Zelensky said that after this very substantive and frank conversation, he believed lasting peace could be achieved this year. Meanwhile, top military leaders from countries across Europe and beyond are due to meet Thursday in London to discuss plans for an international peacekeeping force in Ukraine.
Iran has released French tourist Olivier Grondeau from Tehran's notorious Evin prison, where he was held for more than 880 days. Grondeau, 34, was arrested in southern Iran in October 2022 and sentenced to 5 years in prison for conspiracy against the Islamic Republic. In Malaysia, the government has approved a fresh search for the wreckage of Malaysia Airlines flight MH370. The disappearance of the aircraft in 2014, with 239 people on board in the southern Indian Ocean, remains one of the biggest mysteries of modern-day aviation.
Now let's take a closer look at what the international press is covering. Turkish daily Hürriyet dedicates its front page to the arrest of Istanbul Mayor Ekrem İmamoğlu, which sparked large-scale protests in Turkey. 37 people accused of provocative social media protests over the arrest of the popular opposition leader have also been detained. İmamoğlu, a key rival of President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, was arrested on Wednesday over charges including graft and aiding a terrorist group.
From French daily Le Figaro, the World Crunch team has translated and adapted this interesting story that unpacks a study on the, quote, remarkable integration trajectory of immigrants from Vietnam, Cambodia, and Laos in France. According to the study by the Observatory of Immigration and Democracy think tank, in the space of a single generation, people from Southeast Asia have moved from the lowest to the highest scores in terms of diploma levels, despite a family background of lower qualifications and less proficiency in the French language.
And the New Zealand press is covering a major feat by 15-year-old Sam Ruth, who became the youngest athlete to run a sub-4-minute mile with a time of 3:58.35. A sub-4-minute mile has long been a benchmark in athletics, a feat first achieved by Great Britain's Roger Bannister in 1954.
And we're closing things out today with a daily quiz question. which comes to us from the world's happiest countries. The World Happiness Report 2025 has crowned Finland as the world's happiest country for the 8th consecutive year. Which countries entered the top 10 for the first time? Is it A. Canada and Mexico? B. Costa Rica and Mexico? C. Costa Rica and Canada? Or D. Liechtenstein and the US? The correct answer is B. Nordic countries have topped, once again, the World Happiness Report 2025, published Thursday, with Finland clinching the top spot for the 8th year in a row, followed by Denmark, Iceland, and Sweden. But Costa Rica and Mexico entered the top 10 for the first time, ranking at 6th and 10th respectively.
That's the latest from around the world. If you like this podcast, we'd really appreciate it if you could help us out with a follow, share, and a 5-star rating on your preferred podcasting platform. For more of the best of the international press delivered exclusively in English, visit us at worldcrunch.com. We'll see you here tomorrow. À demain.